And of course, there are no safe pits and there are no safe jobs. And when we went along to meet the board, we met them on the question of pit closures, and then we met them on the question of wages and conditions. Now, I know there are those who say we can separate the two issues. And I know that there are those who say that what we can do is to get rid of the wages issue because the situation in the industry is more important. What is it? Let's have a look. We've put forward a wage claim. And since 1974, we've lost 23% in real terms in this industry. We've fallen down the wages league to 45th place. And when the board met us, they said, yes, we accept those figures, but we can't pay you because we haven't enough money. And they've offered us 5.2%. Tell you what I said. I said, I'll accept 5.2% on one condition, that it's 5.2% of McGregor's salary. It'd give you 66 quid a week increase. I'll accept 5.2% increase of your manager's increase. Do you know how much he'll get under this deal? £28 a week increase. Well, I believe my members go to the same shop that he does, and they've a right to the same kind of increase. How the hell can I, as a trade union leader, stand idly by when my members are offered £3 a week net, and people at Vauxhalls in the car industry are offered 50% more than what we've been offered, when the fire service and police force and army have all been offered 50 to 60% more than what my members are being offered? How on earth can we do it? There's also the question of other benefits. Unsocial shift hours. In 1974, we received in this industry £1.40 per week for unsocial shift payments. In other industries, they receive £1.30 a week. Today, we get £4.05 a week on average in this industry. In other industries, they get £22 on social shift payments. That's how far you've fallen behind on that one element alone. On hours, our hours have dropped not 1 minute, whilst in other industries they've dropped 2 and 3 hours a week. And if we were to keep pace, even in the last 7 years, we would require a decrease in hours of at least 3 to 4 a week. We were promised the equivalent of a 4-day week in 1919. And in 1983, we're still working a 7.25-hour shift, plus winding times, and that means you're spending over 8.5 hours at the pit, which is longer than any other worker in outside industry. And it's time that our union understood exactly what type of hours we're working. Wages costs. We're told they can't afford it. Who are they kidding? In 1947, out of every pound they spent in this industry on costs, 65%, 65 pence in the pound, went in wages. Today, as I speak, out of every pound paid out, 28 pence goes in wages. You don't need to be a brilliant mathematician to work out that that represents less than half the wages bill that they used to have to pay out in the industry. And it's time that our union took them to task on this question. Why is it that in 1983 we're still facing problems? Why is it that we're not able to persuade the board to sell the coal in a sensible way? Why can't we say to them, if you stop the stocking of coal, you'd save £8 a tonne stocking charge. You've already undervalued the coal by £8 a tonne, and if my maths are right, you can sell that coal for £16 a tonne less than what your current value is, And this industry would be better off because we wouldn't have any stocks of coal on the ground. There must be another reason why they're not selling it, why they're refusing to reduce the price. And one of the reasons is that they're wanting to try and crush the N.U.M and crush this industry and beat it down to around 100 pits. I can recall when I spoke in Durham 3 years ago, and I argued for import controls to stop the 4.5 million tonnes of coal coming in and to stop the 5 million tonnes of foreign oil to generate electrical power, costing 30% more than coal produced here in the northeast. If you stop those two importations of oil and coal, you wouldn't have a ton of coal stocked on the ground in Britain, and there wouldn't be a pit threatened with closure. If you reduce the price of coal, as you could do, and you stop paying £8 a tonne to stock it, there'd be no stocks of coal and you'd be opening pits rather than closing them. The coal board claim to have geological experts. They claim to have the best mining engineers. And when they tell you your pit's clapped out, you have no right to protest. Don't you believe them? 1972, I argued that we should develop a new coalfield in North Yorkshire around a town called Selby. I said there were massive reserves of coal that could be exploited. The deputy chairman of the coal board, Mr. John Mills, said, "Mr. Scargill talks irresponsibly. There is no possibility of developing a coalfield in North Yorkshire." So much for the geological expertise of the board. The only problem down there is the thickness of the seams. They're 12 foot thick, and they said they didn't exist. The coal seams in this county exist, and they should and they could be exploited. It's because the board don't want to, and they're wanting to close pits down. If this industry received the same subsidies that are given in the European Common Market, we should be making £800 million profit a year. There isn't a pit that could face closure. It'd be so profitable. If we got the same subsidy as Germany, which is the lowest subsidy of any in Europe, we should be making £600 million profit a year. That's the sort of measure that you understand. And it's time that this government gave us the same consideration and assistance that is being given in the European Common Market. Even in the communist bloc, they're giving £30 a tonne subsidy. If we got that subsidy, we'd make £900 million profit a year, and no pits would face closure. Well, they keep telling me I'm scaremongering. Am I? 3 years ago, when I spoke at the Durham Miners' Gala, I said the coal board had a hit list. I said that in that hit list there were 12 pits facing closure in the northeast, and that the Durham and Northumberland coalfields faced decimation. The coal board harangued me, called me irresponsible. The Tory government said Scargill is once again scaremongering and wants his members on strike. The press went crazy in their attacks on me, and the slimy sun said Scargill's gone off his trolley. The saddening feature was that there were members of my own union who said Scargill has no right to scare members of the N.U.M in this way. It gives me no comfort or satisfaction to come on this platform this morning and say the 12 pits that I said would close are already being closed or have been closed during the course of the last 3 years. And it's time our membership understood. You're going to have to believe the coal board and government, or you're going to believe this union. One of the things that our members have got to come to terms with, one of the things that our members have got to come to terms with is the need to stand and defend this industry. I understand the redundancy payments and the fact that our members are being urged to sell their jobs for high redundancy payouts. This industry and this union should be saying all miners at 55 should be entitled to go out of this industry on the same terms and conditions as apply to redundant mine workers. And we shouldn't be selling our jobs because they're not ours to sell. They belong to our sons and our grandsons, and we should be arguing for retirement with dignity for our people and not redundancy for some and not for others.